Hi, everybody. There's the moderator. Okay, so we are going to talk today in another intuitive Akashic live stream. I'm just moving my supplements off the shelf here because I didn't know they were going to be showing on the screen. I have a different laptop that's still a little bit new to me that I'm getting used to, and it has a wider camera than I realized. So anyway, today is going to be our fourth intuitive Akashic live stream event here. And I am going to be talking about whatever the true and quantum Akash and the other energy streams that I work with choose to have shared today. For those who may be catching this video later or just happen to connect here on YouTube because we have interests in common, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Sarah. You can find me on most social media at SarahDescending. My primary platform is Twitter. That is where I am the most active, simply because it is where the majority of my client base connects with me first. So if you would like updates as to when I am going to go live, I will be trying to post here in like the community post. But if you want to get a mini session from me that would be live streamed, this is how you access a low ticket session with me. If you're not able to connect with or don't have the time for a one-on-one private session, you follow my main Twitter account at SarahDescending, and you will get updates as to when I'll be going live. I would love to connect with more of you. I am a depth quantum practitioner. I spend a lot of time and energy learning how to facilitate alchemical transformative experiences for people. I have been my own, not experiment, I have been on a path of my own significant alchemical remembrance for many years now. Like many of you, this really amplified for me in 2020. And I had a very rapid awakening in which I went from being very aware of certain dynamic truths about the nature of this reality, but not interfacing or engaging with those very much as a young mother, 15 years ago, into the fullness of the mantle of the calling that I have agreed to live out in this incarnation. I offer quite a few modalities. Beyond Quantum Healing is a wonderful quantum exploration that is self-guided, in which I work as facilitating guidance, but you as client are going to be the one driving that session type. It is phenomenal, and I really recommend it. Right now, I do feel that if you are new to this work and you're wanting to dip your toes in, depending upon your comfort level with energy work and repair and remembrance, I would recommend potentially considering starting with intuitive conversation and light energy clearing. If you are nervous or a little hesitant, or you feel like this is very much outside of your current paradigm and you want to learn more about it and you'd like to connect with me, that's a great starting point. But there are very specific things that do not occur in that modality. So it is a lighter level clearing. It's conversation and coaching based. It's sacred space. I'm really holding space for you to talk about whatever you need to talk about. And I do a lighter level of clearing on this body and your current energetic biofield that is part of this physical body in the reality that we are in 3D. Deeper and more quantum levels of clearing. So the whole shebang occurs in other modality types. Quantum clearing and energetic repair and soul-guided emotional release and energy repair are going to be the deepest level of clearing work that I facilitate right now. And I am requiring for people who are working with me as practitioners to engage with me for at least one quantum clearing session in order for me to endorse them in their practice, because of how important this level of deep work within the body, within this life, and the quantum multidimensional realities that we are all part of. It needs to be addressed in order for me to endorse collaborators confidently. I also offer intuitive shamanic visioning. That's a phenomenal modality that is offered in which similar depth of work can occur. Let's see, Akashic records. I work with the True and Quantum Akash. I'm always connected to the Akash as the primary substance. And that is who, when you are watching these live streams, that is who or what I am opening as the hollow bone to connect with. The Akash is an aspect of the Godhead as spirit. So the primary substance includes us. We are all part of it. There is a level of refinement and clarity that many people are working on in order to more accurately connect with this always available holographic record, probability, and love. So the Akash is love. That's one thing that I think gets missed sometimes. It is love because love is the primary substance. It is the source and the force, and we are part of that. It is part of us. And that's something that I really feel we need to help people come into an understanding of, about what is the Akashic record. We can choose to tap in with permission and consent at just about any time. Once we have answered the call and done our clearing and clarification work. So with that said, I am just sort of preparing to talk about whatever is coming up through the Akash. Here lately, we've been touching on ethical consent in energy work. And this is a really important factor that is a topic that's been near and dear to me, that I have spent a lot of time considering. And it can be a difficult one for people who have come into their abilities and gifting to know when to take action and when not to. And this is one of the challenges of a free will realm. So, and I had a question about this. I spoke about this the other day, both in my private small group. So I have a private small group that meets on Zoom twice a month. We were speaking about this the other day, and I had a follow-up question that I wanted to address. And then I spoke about this a few days ago, I think on another live, just briefly. And so the question that was posed to me was, if we are perceiving things about people or about others that we don't have consent to be doing energy work on, does that mean, or is that a sign that I am not boundaried or building enough layers of like security or protection around me if I'm perceiving something about another person? And that was actually a really good question. And this is another practitioner who is extremely intuitive, very gifted, but has been away from this paradigm and not engaging with this work for some time and is stepping back into it. And what I want to say is that there is nothing wrong with receiving intuitive messages at all. This is part of being a human. It's part of your birthright as an ensouled human who is part of the all, who is part of God's source. However, what we find is whether or not you do something about it. So we've spoken at length. I made a video even recently about how you can install a filter in your mind space or within your field to help prevent getting bombarded with other people's thoughts, energies, and just essentially getting stuck in the thought field or things from the field of collective thought bombarding you. So you can instill a filter if it's too much. You are in control, and you can ask for divine assistance to quiet it down or slow it down. So that's one thing that's important. But the other thing that's important is when you are receiving intuitive messages or guidance just as part of living your life, and you come across so-and-so, and without this person saying anything to you, you intuit, for instance, that they are having issues in their primary relationship, or that they are in deep grief, even though that hasn't been shared with you verbally by them. That was the example somebody asked me about. Had this person done something wrong by intuiting that there was an issue with this individual's family? And the answer is no, you did not do anything wrong. That intuition, that information does not at all mean that you were violating any kind of ethical consent or ignoring the other person's free will. That's just the intuitive, telepathic, psychic ability that we all actually have, that many of us are now remembering and coming back into. The difference is in what you do about it. So you can intuit and observe something without intervening and doing something. And that's the line. So as I was preparing and talking to some of my collaborators and thinking about what wanted to be shared today, that came up. So the line is, even if you are aware, even if you are seeing, hearing, perceiving, and receiving intuitive information about another person or another system, a group of people, the line is in not doing some kind of energy work without a conscious agreement and consent. This brings forth the question of, well, what about thoughts and prayers? My thoughts and prayers are with you. And I do think it is important for us to consider who and what is being prayed to. So if I haven't consented to somebody praying to their false god for me, I do feel as though that is a violation. People are different, though, and there's nothing wrong with connecting with the divine Abwoon and sending love, compassion, and grace to another person you feel is suffering. But it needs to be done very carefully, and without an assumption that you know what's better for somebody than they do. It's like if somebody needed surgery, or the doctor told someone they needed surgery and they needed to have their arm amputated, and the person looks at their arm and there's nothing wrong with it. Who gets to choose? So this is what doing energy work on someone without their conscious consent is a problem. We get more nuanced when we hear somebody say something like, but so-and-so's higher self came to me and told me it was okay. They asked me for that help. And I want to share a little story about this, even though I wasn't asking for help. I want to preface this with connecting with the higher or expanded selves of people that you are close to, that you are in intimate partnership with, that you are related to, or that is a long held, like a long time friendship, an eternal connection that you're both part of. And if you have consented to working with another person in an energetic way, whether or not they are physically there, so you and Sally have an agreement that in doing energy work separately, if something comes up and you're able to assist this other person, you can help Sally and Sally's okay with it without her needing to know ahead of time consciously that you are performing some kind of energetic repair. So that's a little bit different if it's family, very close friends, and you guys have an agreement. However, there is a line in which we need to really consider that we are also living in a realm that has significant lower astral bleed through. It has abyss and phantom matrix bleed through where they are coming and going, and energetically oftentimes can kind of pull one of their false light costumes on, or actually mask as another person. And that's what I would like to bring forth to the example that I'm going to share, which was this has happened to me multiple times now. It's been a couple of years, and I had to do quite a bit of energy work to identify this. And anyway, in 2022, I had multiple individuals online message me and tell them that I was either their twin flame, or that I had come to them in a meditation or a dream state. And one person even went so far as to say that one of the archangels that he worked with as a guide told him that I was his divine feminine counterpart, and he needed to claim me or go get me, and that I was there to blast wide open essentially his life and skills and gifting. And I need to say, like, without a doubt, that this is not okay. Waking up to a DM from somebody that I do not have an energetic relationship with, a man informing me that I'm his and he gets to claim me, and that I'm like the divine feminine who's going to expand him, is a problem for me. And in this case, this man was trying to connect with me energetically without my consent. And when you go looking for something, the reality will assist you in finding a way to back up what it is you're looking for. And so essentially, a lower astral entity that had the ability to mask tried to come to this individual as me. And this has happened multiple times now. I know many, many women and men online who have experienced similar. And this is a two-pronged or multifaceted issue here, where we have individuals who are not practicing conscious ethical consent. I did not consent to doing energy work with that individual, nor did I tell him that he could meditate to my image or thoughts of me. And it was very violating. And it also helps illustrate why rules for thee and not for me is not okay. In energy work, we find that people can have spiritual ego that pops up from time to time, in which they feel like they know better for you than you do. And that's just like a doctor saying, your arm needs amputated, even though there's nothing wrong with your arm. Just as an example, you still need to be the driver of your own life, your own consent, your own consciousness, and your own energy work, and how you interface with others energetically. I really hope that makes sense. It doesn't mean you turn off your intuition. It doesn't mean you are not open to receiving with consideration messages that the universe or the divine may share with you about somebody, such as the friend who said, well, if I intuited that so-and-so is having issues in their relationship, but they didn't tell me, did I do something wrong? Was I imposing? That was not an imposition. That you weren't actively looking for that. That information was offered. So I hope that that helps to clarify this issue. And I guess while I am on this, it feels important to mention that, this touched on kind of like the example I shared was touching kind of on an issue in which we have certain groups of people and individuals who still want to siphon from the collective energetic womb. And this goes both ways. It's not just one gender or the other, but frequently I have experienced it from a male who is not yet initiated or mature, such as the examples I've given about like the DMs I would receive from people I didn't know, or one person was an online acquaintance that I'd been friendly with, but not somebody that I was in any kind of a friendship or relationship container with, in which it would be okay for them to be meditating to me and having their archangel tell them that I was theirs. So we need to be very, very cautious and act with care regarding attraction and desire in these spaces, if you will, these paradigms. Because it's crucial that you comprehend, that each individual comprehend that the accessing and rising of their own life force, creative energy, sexual energy, kundalini, whatever you want to call it, is their process and theirs alone. Now, if you come into communion with somebody that wants to share or participate in that with you, that's a different thing. But the Akash is kind of streaming right now and showing me many, many examples in our reality of a misuse of this and a grabbing at other people's sacral energy and energy field in general without consent. And so that's something that we are needing to bring attention to, that because it's part of the parasitic problem that we are facing as souled humans in this reality, especially with all of the parasitic thought forms and energy extraction devices woven into much of our media. These are important conversations to have. So I guess that was what I wanted to start with sharing. And I'm just kind of feeling into what else the Akash would like to talk about in terms of collective energies. And I'm just going to share what I'm being shown with you. So I see a beautiful field, just kind of like a green valley here where I'm at in the middle of the US. It is still green. We have trees. Some trees are turning, but we still have lots of green, and I'm being shown a lovely green valley. I see a whitish sheepdog, shaggy hair in the front, and a little boy with a soccer ball. This is an important imagery that is being offered to someone as a baseline connective point to access your own expanded levels of awareness and consciousness. I'm going to offer that the Akash is being very clear with me that the imagery of the little boy, the dog, and the ball are soul-aligned connections. It's very likely that this little boy maybe was a baby who miscarried or died as a young child. Your grief is felt. You are being showered with compassion from not only your loved ones and soul connections within the Akash and the other realms, but from the soul of the lost child, the child that you lost. And I'm just supposed to share that he is available to you. This soul essence is still available to you to connect with as a primary ancestral connection in the energetic realms right now. Let's see. Okay, so I'm being directed to mention the BQH playlist here on my channel for those who might catch this later or tomorrow. There are several videos on there that are relevant and important. I'm being shown the state of Texas, and the video entitled "The Light is Getting Brighter" I did with a fabulous client, and she shared a lot of information in that, and I believe we'll be sharing a second part to a second segment of that video at some time. There is much going on in the state of Texas that cannot be publicized right now. Please, if you were there, or for those not there but are familiar with some of what is happening energetically, hold space for the continued cleaning up of things unseen that are happening under the surface, and potentially consider watching the video "The Light is Getting Brighter" to understand some of what is occurring there and other places too. But it's really important to understand that there is energetic cleanup happening. The Akasha is moving very quickly, so I'm filtering and considering which threads of information and activation are the best to share with you right here, right now. Similar activity happening in the land that we call New Mexico. There are strongholds of principalities that I'm being shown in the southwest region, specifically Nevada as well, that are some of what many of us as parts of the group of souls who incarnated to help with the dissolving and dismantling of the false and fallen structures of this world, the systems that are harming us, are also doing right now a lot of significant work in the other realms or the other aspects of consciousness to address ongoing strongholds of principalities in that region of the United States. And it felt like it was very important for me to offer that bit of information. We have a personal friend who's another practitioner, part of small group, who is in New Mexico right now. This is relevant for her presence there. I'll offer that. What do you do? I'm going to pose a question that I wrote a little bit about this morning. What do you do and how do you keep going on when it feels like everything around you is crumbling? And this is something that I have been in communion with the energy streams that I work with. How do we support one another when it feels like the level of stress that so many are feeling from all sides is so very great? How do we best show up for ourselves and for one another? As a human, as the human ego personification person named Sarah, I'm going to say that I don't have all the answers. But what I keep being offered when I feel into this is that we just have to keep going. That doesn't mean you don't rest. It means that you remember in trust and faith that this is what we came to do, and it's why and when and who we came as and came for. And that this time of worldwide disorder, pain, and more is part of the collective death, rebirth cycle that we are here for. We are the doulas and the midwives who came to assist in a rebirth. And how we rebirth is important. And what we collectively co-create and co-render in each moment is important, because it's literally determining in each moment what comes next. As I've spoken about, we are part of a creating creation and aspecting the creator creatress. So the Akash has been sharing a lot about showing up, restoring the self through self-care, through rest, through emotion, through feeling the really, really, really tough, hard emotion. Suppressing it won't help. So there's a lot of emotional release that's coming up for many people. A lot of grief, a lot of rage, a lot of pain, and moving through it or allowing it to move through you so you can be the alchemical conduit is important. Suppressing it and compressing it into the body is no longer going to serve you or your loved ones or the world or the mother. It's time to get radically comfortable in the liminal discomfort that many of us are feeling and sensing as we assist with grace and compassion. And as we remember that not everybody is feeling okay all of the time, and that all of us here are going through a process or a time of not feeling okay some of the time. And to know that it's okay to not be okay, and that in that acceptance, accepting what is in that moment is going to allow you to move through whatever you need to move through in a healthy way and come into more authentic wholeness. Really having a lot of grace and compassion has been what I've been being shown in the Akashic record, while yet holding firm boundaries about the treatment and behavior that you will accept and allow in your life. Many people are really, really distracted. One thing that the energy streams I have been connected to and connecting with have reiterated in my own work, my own observation, my own life, my own experience, the constant connection with the internet or the smartphones, especially with short, visually appealing reels or TikToks or what are they called? Yeah, the shorts or Instagram reels, the short TikToks, that loop, this constant loop of visual pops and sound pops is adding to distraction within the brain and the mind realm, exactly as it's been intended to, as a way to interfere with our evolution and our coming into a greater and more expanded level of consciousness. So if you are finding yourself feeling very scattered a lot of the time, I would recommend, if you're distracted and scattered, I'm going to recommend that you more closely moderate how much time is spent scrolling. And I know it's the kind of easy answer that nobody likes, but I know from experience that when you decrease the scroll, or the way the brain and the eyes and the ears are exposed to these very short, attention grabbing types of videography, that things can improve. I want you to know that you can rewire both energetic and physical pathways in the brain, the body, the mind space, and the energy field. And it's really important to be able to do so. There is like somebody watching, maybe it's not someone watching now, but someone who's going to see this in the next week or two really needs to consider a 3 to 4 week break from using social media. I'm seeing that there is, we're not even touching deeply on the kind of things that are woven into or that can come in through excess use of social media. We're grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. I'm speaking to you on a social media platform, which is a blessing to be able to do, but we have to moderate it, and we have to control our engagement and interaction with it so it doesn't control us. And it's really important for whomever, if you hear this and you're like, oh, I think that's me, then it definitely is. And I would recommend going through an internet fast, a detox, like not saying not to text your friends or your family, not to, you don't have to throw the phone away, but I'm just being shown that there's someone, it feels like this is a man who needs to do some deep clarification work in which the phone is very, very limited and you're not accessing specifically, I'm being shown Instagram and Reddit. There may be others, but there's also a healing that you need to be facilitating for yourself or finding some help because the energy field has been disrupted from holding the phone so much. And that's something that can happen to anybody. Where I'm doing repair on that often, but you need to reinforce the energy centers in the palms, especially of your dominant hand. Is there anything else the Akash would like to talk about today? Okay. I'm going to close with a recommendation that everybody here or who watches later decides to connect with whatever archetypal power animal energy is ready to show up and work with you. I'm being shown a camel and a llama and a series of children's books. It was like there was a series of children's books about, it was like llama, and then the rest of the title would follow. Somebody here has likely read those books to their children. And I'm supposed to share with you that there is an energetic connection that you have on a soul level with the author, who I believe has passed away. And the archetype of llama and camel are showing up behind, like I'm seeing a starry night sky. And there is a need for somebody to connect, especially with camel, related to holding the reserve, building a reserve, and making sure that you are cultivating your own water, your own life water, and able to hold and store that. So I'm seeing that camel is actively seeking to connect with somebody relating to that. So that is something that people would think of as more of like an earth-based or shamanic kind of a stream. But in my work, I have learned that these are all interconnected. And what I maybe would call shamanic one day, I would call angelic the next. These are collective streams of energy. And I wind up connecting with, archetypal power animals in all of the work that I do and facilitate for others. And these archetypes are very, very supportive and important to connect with at certain places within one's journey. Let's see, is there anything else? I'm supposed to mention that you can do muscle testing or pendulum work, pendulum divination, which is actually muscle testing. And the divining is through your own expanded self, your own connection to source. There's no like entity or demon that's pushing that pendulum or, making a muscle test go one way or the other. You're connecting with your body and receiving divine wisdom from your body and superconscious and from source energy. So I'm supposed to tell you that if somebody is interested in doing that, that's offered in my as part of my emotional release. But I also do very short, low ticket pendulum readings. And I'm supposed to tell someone that if you are in a pinch, you can tie your ring or something to dental floss. It seems like somebody is early in learning this and is actually really being called to develop and build your own intuition and trust in yourself through this kind of work. So I wanted to offer that. And I do teach that, like I said, in emotional release. And then I have a small low ticket, just pendulum reading, and I'll do similar with card pulls. But let's see, is there anything else? So one of you is connecting with a stepped reality in dream time. And I'm going to offer that a stepped reality, or it's kind of like we are connected. This reality is closely connected and interfacing and engaging with another. And I share about this or Yael in a BQH I facilitated shares about this in the BQH that's talking. I can't remember what the exact title is. But it's about like 12D, Tara, and water I think are some of the words in the title. And it's really important. There was an aspect of like Greece and a Lyran stepped reality. And I'm seeing that it's super important for somebody who's having some very vivid dreams to consider to consider that it's not just another timeline you're accessing or being shown, that you're actually participating in some kind of a blending of or stepped reality, where you are acting as a go-between, a cosmic quantum go-between between like kind of this waking reality here and wherever it is that you are going. You're receiving attunements and codes and assisting and bringing them back here. It's very important that we connect with the solar stream. This is coming up as kind of what I'm going to conclude with. The solar stream is present. It is active. It is alive. No matter what you think about the physical sun that we are seeing in the sky, set that aside, any theory, any idea, and understand that the solar consciousness is organic, alive, available, and requesting connection as part of the structural foundation, as the cosmic support for the life wave of souled humanity, ensouled humanity. This has been coming up quite a bit in my work. It's important to build not just a grounding cord or root to the earth, the heart of the earth. You may build one to the solar consciousness or the cosmos or the all that is. I'm seeing that there's a few people present or who will be watching later that need to focus on not just having an earth grounding cord, but also another more expanded grounding cord. So with that, I think this is going to conclude our live for today. We are experimenting with different times and days. And right now my guidance has been to offer approximately 4 lives a week, which mostly will be here. We might play around with Instagram. I loved doing lives on Twitter, but Twitter does not have a good way for me to get a good video copy. The recording is not available to be uploaded here. It's a very poor quality. So we're just bringing it directly to YouTube. Right now, my guidance has been to try for 1 afternoon live stream and 3 evening live streams a week. And of course, that will vary a little bit depending upon my schedule and my children's schedules. And next week will be different because I will be doing the BQH immersion course with the amazing Candace Craw-Goldman. So next week, there'd be a little bit of variability in that. But as of right now, I think today's Wednesday. So our next YouTube live stream will likely be Friday evening. And when I am offering these intuitive Akashic lives, please know that I am available to do between 1 and usually about 3 or 4 intuitive Akashic individual mini sessions on these lives. They are $27. That's about a third of the cost of what you would pay if you were, accessing me for 15 minutes. My regular rate for an Akashic session is $227 for 1 hour. So if you are somebody who would really like to connect with me, but you are not able to meet for a one-on-one session, or you are dipping your toes in and want to see what it's all about, or you are not able to financially connect at regular rates, this is an easy, low ticket, accessible way to connect with me. If you want to stay caught up on when I will be going live, that, like I said earlier, is always announced on Twitter. It is also generally announced on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll start posting here in like the community post part, like of my channel. But do know that if I'm announcing a live and you would like a mini reading, you are free to email me and request one, and we will go from there. Otherwise, they're just Akashic live streams about whatever I am being asked to work with or transmit. So thank you guys so much for coming, and I will speak with you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.